Deontay Wilder has been very vocal to media and on pay-per-view telecast even. He went on the pay-per-view telecast itself and said this. But let's just play the clip again of Deontay Wilder at the announcement press conference for the Ortiz fight and why, some of his reasons, why that this fight is now on Fox and not Showtime.
Your first one, you went ahead. The first fight that you had, you went ahead and you defeated Berman Stavern. You finished him off when you guys had the rematch in unbelievable fashion. Are you looking to do the same against Luis Ortiz to make it a more convincing victory to prove those that may say, well, he got, the blessing of the referee in the 7th round to make it more definitive?
The only way people ran away with that narrative is because of Showtime commentary, Paulie Malignaggi. When people do commentary, people that don't understand boxing, that's on the outside looking in, only can hear they so-called experts and stuff. So it can be a narrative painted. Even with the lead up with Fairhood scorecard keeping and stuff, things can be painted in people's minds. So they're like, oh, this must be really is what it is. What's a 2-second, 3-second? That ain't no fucking break. Excuse my language, but I'm passionate. Okay, that's not a break. I don't. When you're a warrior, that's what kind of break is that? That's like taking a deep breath. When somebody in their life, he took his last breath. I ain't taking my last breath. I continued on as a champion. So that wasn't no break at all. And we was already warned that would happen if certain things occurred. That had nothing to do with me nor him, if anything. So, but it was painted out there, put it in people's heads. So I want to correct my wrongs into rights, and this is why we're here now.
So, hold on. Sorry, turn up the volume again. Rob.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm pretty shocked that this is some of the reasoning behind the departure from Showtime, to be honest. At least from, do I think this is the main reason? No, I think Fox's promotional, sort of, how do I say it, advantages over Showtime is probably the main factor why PBC has led PBC to make Fox a priority over Showtime. And plus, I think it's clear that they get more buys off of these Fox pay-per-views than they would off of Showtime pay-per-views, just being honest. But to have a personal reason of this nature that the commentary of Showtime, a commentary team that I personally think is the gold standard right now in boxing, at least a year or so ago is one of the issues for Deontay Wilder and why he sort of wants to get away from Showtime. Rob, I'm surprised by this, to be quite honest. I didn't know this was a thought or opinion of his at all until he mentioned it at this press conference.
I know him and Paulie had a back and forth, and I thought Paulie said, they discussed it, they talked about it, and things were kind of cool. But yeah, it raised its head again. So I don't know. It's like I said, I don't think this is like the reason.
Yes, like I said,
that Wilder's gone. No, I'm not fighting on Showtime anymore because Paulie says naughty things about me. But it's probably
it's an issue. It definitely is.
Yeah. Why would you say it?
And it's clear he's emotional about it. Like, and I don't mean that like in
he is emotional.
I mean, he's an emotional guy, but like I say that not to mean a disparaging way of like, oh, he's emotional. Like, no, like it's clear that like this upsets him. It's clear like whatever Paulie said upsets him. It's clear that he thinks that the Showtime narrative, air quote narratives about him are negative, and that offends him in some way. Like that's just the reality of it.
Yeah, he brought up Farhood's scorecard as well,
yes,
right? So
yes, he did.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously issues there that he didn't appreciate, and when it's your team on your network, I guess you expect some kind of backing. But a lot of people had a problem with how that end of the 7th going into the 8th round or whatever it was went down. So Paulie sort of said it as he saw it. Paulie's always been vocal. He'll always sort of call it how he sees it. Whether you agree or not is another matter. But he he's not afraid of saying what he thinks, as we know. So yeah, but Wilder obviously doesn't appreciate that, and that might have been a contributing factor to, with an opportunity of Fox coming up, that was just an added, yeah, fuck them,
Which
But
it's gonna happen. Fighters are emotional people. People are emotional. Period. But I mean, sort of what you were saying. Like, I don't think it's a real valid criticism, to be honest, from Wilder. I mean, the commentary team is going to have their opinions. They should feel empowered to give their opinions and their criticisms and their takes on what they're watching. That's what they get paid for. And
no,
if they're great analysts, if they're great commentators, they're going to try to be highly objective about what they're watching, even if it is the golden goose of Showtime boxing in Deontay Wilder.
damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you're there being a, corporate pumping
Bootlicker.
that narrative for the whole world's watching, and they're like, what the fuck? Oh my god, these guys are
Absolutely.
shit. They're just saying what the fucking network wants them to say. It's scripted. They can't win, and if you go against the grain of what the fighter thinks, you're upsetting the fighter, and it's a fine line to tread, really, because, like you say, that was Wilder's one of the biggest draw that was on Showtime at that moment, and he didn't appreciate the words. So you've got to toe the line as well. So do you just not say things, or do you have your own integrity and say what you're there to do? And I don't know. It's tricky. There's many people to keep happy in that situation. So it's a fine line. And I guess the best of them have managed to do that without really, we always saw Mayweather and
Larry Merchant.
yeah, going back and forth. You don't know shit. And if I was 50 years old, younger, I'd kick your ass. But that was sort of part of it. I think part of Mayweather playing heel and being that guy. But yeah, interesting that came up in the press conference. The fact that I did catch hold of that, considering that was off the back of at least a 20-minute monologue from Wilder. Oof. Bless him. He can be engaging, but he needs to know when to leave little pauses for other things, not just keep going. But yeah, he talks. But no, it was yeah, poor media. There was obviously a boxing card happening. Wilder was like an hour late, or nearly an hour late. Blame the LA traffic. I'm sure Mac can sympathize, but
yeah, I agree.
Well, if you've got a deadline to be somewhere, you might want to just be there plenty ahead of time. But yeah, that was a long wait, and we got some sound bites and stuff, and the fight's happening, and Leo Santa Cruz and he's co-main. Woohoo!
Oh, we don't need to talk about that. That's bullshit.